Good evening, guys and girls. Welcome to another video brought to you by Total Control Traders. Let's get right into it. First one, SPX. So today's market, there's a little bit of bearish action. As anticipated, as discussed in the last two videos, by US dollars, as the leading indicators such as US dollars as well as the US 10 years bond yield. So seeing a little bit of a pullback just past this one-to-one extension target, both of these one-to-one extension targets. We have rejected from this upper trend line multiple times, and if we were to zoom in closer to the 1 hour, we can see that the last two rejection was followed by trading under this interim hourly trend line, followed by a rejection from that trend line. So we lost it and we back tested it, and now we're seeing follow through. Now the concern is that from here, let's take a look at that 8 hours. So the concern is from here 8 hours, it's not too clear yet. You know, we are trading, as of after hours, we are trading under the wedge. So the wedge has broken bare. In the case that tomorrow going into Monday, reminder, tomorrow is OPEC's option expiry tomorrow. Generally, we see either bearish action or increased volatility. So with this bear break on the wedge, I would anticipate further bearish action to come. And if we're to look at the fibs, it doesn't really line up with anything to me. Maybe the 0.5. Oh no, we did bounce from the 0.5 today. So if we're looking at the longer fibs, $43.94. So essentially SPX was a double top, off by 20 cents. So if we were to look at the longer time frame fibs, the 0.382 would bring us to the last support resistance at about 42.96. Let's see what tomorrow brings. Anticipation is further downside with this bearish divergence on the 8 hours and on the daily. So everything is looking bearish to me. Just have to see what kind of volume comes in tomorrow. Today volume is not too convincing. Tomorrow will be the telltale sign. Next is NAS. NAS, we bounced straight from this lower trend line of the channel. So remember, we have discussed this channel on what's today? Thursday. We discussed this channel on Monday. We saw a rejection 13th Tuesday. Yeah. So we saw a rejection, somewhat of a harsh rejection, big upper wick rejection on Tuesday, and then from there today we saw follow through and we saw a bounce from the lower trend line. Channel is to be the main watch for me personally. If this channel were to be lost, I would anticipate whether it's a sector rotation or from here just bearish action for NAS overall. I am anticipating a back test of this previous wedge. If we were to look at this wedge, 1, 2, 3 touches on the bottom, 2 touches on the top before it broke out. So big techs breaking out, leading to NAS all-time high. And from here, let's see if we were to draw. Okay, so it's a bit higher now. The 0.382 is just under the upper trend line of the wedge. If we were to draw it from the most recent move, the 0.5 would line up with upper trend line of the wedge. So it makes sense that we were to back test the upper trend line. Even if we were to back test the upper trend line of the previous wedge, the chart is still extremely strong. Most recent move 0.5, overall picture 0.382. That is still a strong reversal signal. So watch for a reaction around the 0.382. And next is Russell. Russell made an entry on bull play today. We've been tracking this wedge for ever since March of 2021. we've just been trading in this zone for quite a while, months and months. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Today is the 5th touch on the lower trend line. 1, 2, 3 touches on the upper trend line. What that generally means is when we have multiple touches on one zone, it generally means that we're eventually going to break it. So ultimately on the daily chart, it's bearish, especially with the market pulling back. Based on the rising wedge, it's also bearish. Just based on purely this wedge, I would say it's bullish. Now, overall, if you look at the bigger picture, on the monthly, this is a monthly bull flag. So from here, ideally, we don't want to lose that lower trend line of the wedge. But even if we did, monthly 8 is on watch, which lines up with the lower part of the key zone. So yeah, if you were to take a bull position on Russell right now, you could just put your stop. Well, ideally, this is what you want to be doing on most of your trades. When you take a position, whether it's bullish or bearish, you put your stop on the previous support or resistance. So this is the previous support. If you were to take a bull position today, if you had taken the bull position today, your stop ideally should be under this previous support. Just depending on how safe you want to play it, because essentially from here to the previous support, that is still another 2.26% drop. So if you were playing it safe, you could put your stop at below today's low. So next is Dow. Not noticing anything outstanding. Nothing's really popping out at me. Volume is not really crazy. Just looks like indecision. Daily 8. If the daily 8 were to be lost, the next would be this lower trend line. Now this lower trend line, once that's lost, bearish action, the whole market should be looking at correction, aside from the potential bounce of Rus. So with Rus and NAS correlation, again, we're going to look at the QQQ IWM. On the QQQ IWM, we were tracking this double top from way before in 2020. Expected a rejection, which we saw a huge rejection from. Then as we're looking at it early in March, was it February? Early February, when we're looking at potential where the bounce is going to come from, we determined this 2 potential trend lines from down here, and that's exactly where it bounced from. From there, we have now broken the most recent Ethereum upper trend line. It has broken bull, and we are looking at potential of a move to the GP. Now, personally, I think eventually we will get to that GP. However, on the shorter term, we are looking at higher lows to be set for the big techs, such as the bigger movers. Recently, NVDA, Apple, Amazon. I can never remember the last one. Disney and Microsoft. There's what 4 out of 5, 3 out of 5 that have all made new all-time highs. So with that, as they're setting higher low, this would be setting higher low, followed by another leg up to the GP. That is my anticipation. And if we were to look at this chart, just notice this somewhere around here. How come I can't find it from before? Somewhere around. Okay. Yeah, so overshot it, came back. Not seeing much resistance from here. And then it became support, support. Slightly closed under, immediately bought back up. Just depending on what the after hours actions would have actually looked like, because this is a intermarket only chart, so it doesn't give the whole picture. I do somewhat see a support previous support area from this 1.72. So if we're to make, which lines up perfectly with the GP, if we're to make it to the GP, after setting a higher low GP, I would anticipate a rejection from there. And next is, let's talk about the hot tickers. First one, I'm going to discuss Disney. Disney is currently one of the strongest big tech names, holding up as a bull flag, never lost that yesterday's low of day. So from here, we are forming a bull flag, waiting for that 88 to catch up. Haven't lost this previous resistance support yet at 183.40. Chart is looking amazing. Make sure it's on your top watch. From here, if we're to make another, so today's inside bar, tomorrow we should see somewhat of a direction. As long as that 88 holds, we'll be looking for a bull position going into follow through from that wedge break. So this wedge was begun forming April, so it's about 3 months. Yeah, we should see a decent follow through on this wedge break. Next is, let's do the opposite of Disney, NVDA. So NVDA saw a beginning of a daily trend change today. As we're looking at this, there's no daily bear divergence, however. But based on the move, this move along, it started moving. So what essentially happened was it started moving, it broke out of the channel or the wedge or whichever that you were tracking. Oh yeah, I had a wedge on here before, but it didn't really work out. So it became a channel, bear break, fake out, bull break, fake out, came back down, touched this lower trend line again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches. And then upper trend line, 1, 2, 3, 4, fake out before the actual breakout. And so this was since September, almost a whole year of sideways action. If we look at the monthly chart, it is very similar to what was it, Russell? Yeah, well, very similar to what Russell is actually setting up. Russell bull flag on the monthly, and then seeing a huge follow through in June. So that's why Russell is looking fairly good. And if and when it does start bull breaking from that, was it wedge? Yeah, from that wedge, we would expect plenty of follow through on the Russell. Anyways, back to NVIDIA. Confirmed bear break from this trend. Higher high, higher low, lower high, lower low. So now the trend has been confirmed. Trend change has been confirmed. We are looking at two potential levels. Since the beginning of the move, the fib 0.382 leads us to this previous upper trend line from here to here at about 722, 723, and the other one that leads us is this upper trend line of the channel. There's two ways to draw it, and that's why I kept both of them. Upper trend line of the channel, which is close to that 0.5, which will lead us to 688. Those two would be my entry levels that I'm looking at. First one, probably take a first entry on this upper trend line back test. NVIDIA, strong name. I don't think this will be the move, the end of the move. Even with 50-some percent, 54% was it? 54% back test. I do believe at the very minimal on the weekly chart wise, we will be looking at a lower high, if anything, before coming back down. Ideally, what I want to see is a touch of this trend line and back up it goes. Next is Amazon. So as discussed on Tuesday's video, there is potential that this is the fifth wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this could be the top, at least the temporary top. And from there, Tuesday, big upper wick, shooting star formation, and from there we saw follow through today, losing that 88. However, similar to other big tech names, Apple, Disney, no, not Disney, Apple, NVDA, this is a new all-time high breakout. It's a little bit concerning that there is no follow-through, but it's just based on the timing. Apple is the first, NVIDIA is the first to break out, Apple is the second, and then Amazon. So Amazon right now is showing weakness. Apple is relatively strong. NVIDIA is showing weakness because it is looking to set that higher low. Of the three, I would say Apple is the stronger one. Of the five, Disney is probably the strongest one. Microsoft, fairly strong as well. So top 5 names to be keeping on watch. Big techs. The best thing about big techs is you don't have to worry about putting too much money in. I don't think there's such a thing as putting too much money into big techs, unless there is, something that I noticed that could be a little bit worrying, but you will have plenty of chances to exit if it does prove itself to be worrying. So if you look at NAS on the weekly, this is basically going on the monthly chart. Sorry. NAS on the monthly chart, this is basically going parabolic. Okay? Parabolic. And right now we are on the monthly chart, we are extended about 10% from that monthly 8. We should be looking for a pullback. Volume, bull volume, not so great so far. There is a chance that if we're to, come to the monthly low or even make a new low, this will become a shooting star candle, which is a reversal candle. And looking at this chart, when it does start dropping, you do not want to be caught in the middle of it. You do not want to be caught bag holding. But you should have the stock market generally is fairly lenient on second chances. If you didn't get to exit at new all-time high, there is, you had your chance on the daily chart already, because this was bear divergence, daily chart. This is your second chance to exit. If you didn't exit here, you would have exited here. But on the monthly, same idea. If you didn't exit here, say if this is the top, the temporary top, if you didn't exit here, there should be a second chance to exit kind of thing. All right, so let's go back to second last one. Apple, new all-time high again. Indecision candle. This is spinning top, not significant volume. After hours is down a little bit. Would anticipate a higher low to be set. If you look at this chart from here, there's not really, on the daily, there's no significant higher low that was set. On the 4 hours, you can see higher low, higher high, higher low, just non-stop grinding up from the 4-hour 8. This was an amazing play. A little bit of regret, selling from 134-ish, but got some pretty decent gain from 124, so that's good enough. Let's see where that higher low sets in at, and that will be potentially a good long position entry. On the daily, we are looking for a higher low. Again, where do I anticipate the drop to be? First of all, people always ask me, when do you think this stock will be at this price by when? Or what price do you think this stock will be by end of the week? Or what price do you think this stock will be by end of the year? If I knew that, I wouldn't be trading. I'd probably be done trading, right? The best part about stock trading is you never know the time. You can get an idea of which direction it's going to go. And that's why options are extra hard to play with. So with that being said, what I'm looking for personally on this higher low drop, and now that's changed a little bit again because we made new all-time high in the last 2 days. The 0.382 has been raised up from the previous resistance, which is going to be interesting because right now I'm not seeing anything inconfluenced anymore. I would still anticipate roughly about 138 at the very minimal, but I would give it till minimum end of next week, ideally the week after. very slight bearish divergence. So we're gonna need to see the follow through tomorrow to confirm. I did take an Apple put position as well, just to join you. Captain Koala, just to join you. Apple puts. I did take a position, but mine is I can't remember what I took. Apple August. So my play style is I like to give it a little bit more time, especially if you're looking for that trend reversal. You gotta give it a little bit more time. Once that trend reversal is confirmed, so keep in mind, you know, we could drop tomorrow, come back to this previous high support, and then or previous resistance, and from here just bounce to make a new high. Then we make a very clear bearish divergence, and then from there we drop to 138. So if that is the case, which majority of the time, majority being more than 50% of the time, majority of the time that is what the market does. If that is what happens, you're gonna be looking at minimum 2 weeks out already. So you look at 1, 2, 3 candles. Let's just, you know, say, just draw it out for the sake of it. Something like this drop is usually faster than so stairs up, elevator down, right? So a new high, and then another drop down, 138. So even if that is the case, you'll be already looking at August 12th. Just a quick drawing kind of thing. Elevator down, stairs up, elevator down. You'll be looking at August. And that's why, unless the trend reversal or bear divergence already shown itself, give it time. Okay, next, Microsoft. I believe we broke the channel that we were tracking. Ever so slightly, just depending on how you draw the upper trend line. So I drew another one here just from this high all the way. We can see rejections on this trend line all along. So slight bull break. I'm still liking the original one a little bit more just because of the lower trend line, how it works. Slight bull break on this upper trend line. Nothing clear today. Let's drag this out somewhere here. Most ideal entry still remains at 257. Nothing exciting. Upper trend line, not where you want to be making a bull entry. Next is requested tickers. First one by Kwanzaa, HOM.U. I took a look at this earlier today as you were requesting it. So TSX. Okay, yeah, TSX. Just making sure because you usually request TSX Ventures. So with this, what is it called? BSR Real Estate. I took a look at it. 3 main key zones I'm noticing down here, middle, and up here. So right now we are in blue sky breakout mode. 1-to-1 extension target. It is showing that we are rejecting, having a little bit of trouble from that 1.618 area. And if we look at this, so clear wedge break. 1, 2, 3, 4 before the breakout. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. No fourth touch. And this most recent trend line lost it once. Breakdown, fake out before the actual move. So this would have been a little bit hard to trade, in my opinion. You know, if you were tracking this inner trend line recently, yeah, you would have made an entry, you know, whether it was on this candle, or even one of these 2 candles, because breakdown immediately bought up, and then you would have been stopped out here right before the actual breakout. Then you sort of like hesitant. I would have been like a little bit, just say what I would have done, you know, I would have been a little bit hesitant on making an entry here because it is an upper wick, and then you see, like, you know, sideways action. Okay, so it is a bull flag, but not immediate follow throughs, and it moves a little bit, and then bearish action again. So this would have been a little bit harder to trade. The convincing entry, I would have said, you know, right here, May 21st. That would have been the convincing entry. Then you might have been stopped out here again, June 9th, the close under the 88. But that was the only close under the 88 until the next move up. These are this one is very slight. So now we can clearly see one slight close over that 1.618, 2 wicks from it. Nothing notable on the volume. RSI is showing a decreasing momentum, but it could also just be setting up for the next leg up. So RSI is cooling down in a sense because we are holding up very well. So if you look at the weekly chart, yeah, weekly is a weekly bull flag. Weekly 8, okay, let's put it this way. If you are in, weekly 8 is your guide. Close under, well, ideally your entry would have been somewhere around here, even if it's on this confirmation candle. Closing under it with volume, that's your exit. If you aren't in, give it another couple weeks. Keep an eye on it. It could be next week because you look at this volume ever so slightly increasing. RSI is overbought on the weekly. So it's not an ideal spot for the longer term, depending on how you want to do it. The longer term investments, it is not an ideal spot for longer term investment because it is overbought. Essentially, you will either go on the sideways action, kind of choppy action for a while for the RSI to cool down, or it's going to pull back, setting a higher low on the weekly as well as higher low on the RSI. So right now, sort of late to the game. Blue sky breakout, new all-time high, lack of follow through, wouldn't touch it. Watch the RSI. There could be one more leg move up, could very well be one more leg move up, because sideways another 1-2 weeks, and then another leg to new all-time highs, forming a bearish divergence before an actual pullback. That could very well be the scenario because right now we are holding up very strong. Okay, next is Wish. So I did a scalp trade on the Wish today. So last time we reviewed this GP, I said GP ideally we don't want to lose. If we do this 9.71 last spot must hold. Today we opened up below it, had a slight wick under it, and then we started seeing bull coming in. Let's go into, I can't remember, was it looking at 15 or 5 minutes? I think I was looking at 5 minutes. All right, so we opened up under it, slight wick under it, opened up under the support, slight wick under, immediately bought up, and then I think I entered on the second candle here and exited 10.33, 3 cents from the top. And that's why it is extremely hard for anyone to say that they nailed the top. You can't say never, but it is extremely hard to nail the top. 10.33, and that was just me thinking, all right, so we passed support. There's no exact reason why I took it off. It's just when I was looking at this, we're overbought. Even were to come down, make a new high, makes more sense to sell it off right here. So this was good scalp trading from there. Didn't touch it. Look at the daily chart. Or looked at the 15-minute chart. It basically just faded all day until the end of day, started pumping up again. But on the daily chart, daily is actually looking not bad. Don't lose sight of Wish. It's one of those things, I think that. So we reject from GP, and we lost a GP. This is going to be one of those tickers that when it moves, is really going to move. I might actually stop out at 971 because if this is lost, there is no. You could say that there is a support right here, 872. That's a whole dollar down. From here. That's 10%. Yeah, so 971. Probably going to put this stop there. All right, next is AMC. Same idea, did a scalp on this today. Still holding the August, or is it next week? One of those calls that I shared in the chat room today. GP bounce, extended from the 88. This was an amazing play. Amazing play today. So let's look at the open. 7, nope, that's 12. Open gap down below into the GP. Immediately started seeing buying action. and then sold similar, this triple top here, similar time to Wish, but now there is confirmed triple top here. 1, 2, 3, off by 1 cent, and this is what I mean. This is your second chance. You didn't get to sell here, that's fine. Hopefully you kept holding, because now here is your second chance. You can see a clear bearish divergence, and double top continue selling off before the end of day run up. So AMC right now, I am thinking we're gonna need a couple more days, see if this follow through. Bull volume's decent. I think there should be a bounce to the 88 at minimum. Let's say that this is the bottom as an example. So the 88, yeah, somewhat would make sense. So might actually go above the 88, because bounce wise, let's say it's from here instead. Yeah, I still think it would go above the 88. AMC is looking decent, nothing convincing though. Volume shows potential volume climax at the, if it is volume climax, and it's bottom of the trend. And last but not least, no, there's a few more I want to do. Okay, over the next few days, going to the end of the week into beginning of next week, I'm going to share with you guys what is on my top watch. Majority of them, interestingly, majority of them are going to be Canadian tickers. First one, CGC. So you can either look at CGC or WEED. Their charts are fairly similar. Let's look at the daily. It looks like a head and shoulders. If we were to look at WEED, head and shoulders, well, depending on how you want to draw it, but head and shoulders, long-term trend line, we just lost under it, but we did hold that daily. Oh no, we did hold that key zone. So let's take a look at CGC, because it does show us after hour pricing. After hours is up a little bit. Interestingly, the key zone wise, I'm finding it a little bit different between CGC and WEED, but regardless, one is a top of the key zone, the other one, WEED, is the bottom of the key zone. So this was the neckline to hold. Head and shoulders, this was the neckline to hold. Actually, I do need to draw it over. And we lost it, and we saw follow through from there. Follow through of 27%, and this is the trend line that's keeping us down right now. However, if you look at the long term, weekly wise, I think there might be another. Yeah, I think there might be another trend line. Or is it monthly? Might have been monthly. Okay, that doesn't really work out. Oh, there we go. Let's do blue. Okay, so on the monthly, trend line since the beginning of pre-legalization, 2016, bounce, ran all the way up, big drop, ran all the way up again, found support here, found support here. So there is a chance that we could see coming down to this lower trend line again. On the weekly trend line is this white one. So bounce, bounce, we lost it slightly today. Gonna have to see it close over, ideally tomorrow. But marijuana sector, I'm liking what it's doing. Yeah, so keep your eyes on MJ sector. I like how it's, you could say it's buy at a bargain, down 65%. We sold at about, oh, there's CGC. Weed price, it was around the 58.60 mark. Somewhere here, up at the top end of the key zone. Definitely didn't nail the top, but this is definitely a reversal candle. Wow. But yeah, somewhere here, and from there, buying it Every share that you sold, you could be buying more than 2 shares. So I like what the chart's doing. Keep an eye. This is one of the top watch for me going into next week. And the other one is, oh, we discussed this on Monday, Tuesday. BA, it tends to do a breakdown fake out before the actual move up. So keep your eyes on BA over the next 2 days. If you start seeing reversal volume, bull volume coming in, this could be a potential reversal candle spinning bottom. Is there such a thing? I don't know. No, it's not. Anyway, so no breakdown here. Breakdown before the actual, or breakdown fake out before the actual break up. Have to redraw this to make sure that the body's in it. Same idea. Breakdown fake out before the actual move up. And now, is it? We don't know. There is another way that you could draw it using the wick. I usually use the wick. Not sure why I didn't with this one. So maybe somewhere here. There. Yeah, looks good. So potential breakdown fake out before the actual move up. Keep your eyes on BA. Next is ABNB. Not too much to discuss on this one, but I do believe, this is one of the reopening stocks. If you are one of the long investors, those long investors that just invest and sort of leave it there, ABNB is in a good area for first, maybe even second entry, first entry, or add entry kind of thing. Right now we're in the top of the key zone. We're coming. Ideal first entry. If you're looking at second entry, let's take a look at what this looks like. It's not going to be pretty, guys. Not going to be pretty. So if we're looking at this, potential of it going down to $103. But what I'm anticipating is, okay, and remove that. What I'm anticipating is if we were to make a new low here towards that low end, the all-time low close, new low somewhere in between that, we would be making a bullish divergence. Look at this. Okay, it'll be like that, and this is going to be somewhere like that. So if that is the case, that would be the most ideal entry or an ideal add, second position. Next is coin, and there's a couple more after coin. Similar idea to ABNB. We are at the lows. It's hard to draw patterns on this because it is somewhat dependent on Bitcoin. A lot of people think that it's directly correlated, but I don't think it is. Coin is a trading platform, to my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe Coin is a trading platform and shouldn't be directly related. Anyways, we are seeing a back test of this previous uptrend line. Key zone, low risk, easy stop entry kind of thing. Your stop, even let's say that you bought it at close, $14. So you just say if you're being conservative, you put it under here, $14. What is that? 7%? Less than 7%? Oh, that's quite a bit. Is that right? 14 divided by 224, 6%. Okay. So 6% risk to, even if we were to just make a double top, 17%, 3-1, somewhat worth it. Yeah, somewhat worth it. So, look for potentially an entry here. Volume decreasing, bear volume today. All right, next is AC. Air Canada. Still in that GP, stalling, nothing significant. From here, I am seeing there is a slight bull divergence forming. Just depending on how you want to draw it, which wick you want to use kind of thing. So there is a slight bull divergence forming. I do like what the chart is doing. Ultimately, I already have an entry position in since the GP. From here, if we're to lose the GP, we'll be looking at a bigger sizing add around this lower trend line. So if you look at the chart on the daily, we've been in this channel for quite a while. It is a reopening stock that is somewhat, in my opinion, it is delayed. So from here, lower trend line around that $24, $26 mark would be most ideal entry or an ad. Next is SCOR. Keep your eyes on SCOR. Wrong chart. Keep your eyes on SCOR. Oh, it bounced today? Am I looking Canadian? Oh, it bounced today. I think I stopped watching it. Just right after I said keep your eyes on SCOR. Eh? Close to that support. Close enough on the daily. Huh, interesting. Okay, so I was gonna say, you could take, if you're not in, first entry would be around $18. Most ideal entry is gonna be around 17. So this is the wedge I'm tracking. We've already seen 2 touches on the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 touches on the top. Would expect a bounce from this lower trend line. Most ideal entry around $17. But today it looks like we decided to. I was looking at this chart, whether if it's on Tuesday or Wednesday. When I was looking at this chart, I determined that there is a previous resistance here around that 1830 mark. 1, 2, 3 very clear rejections, and then from here, no support. But this 3 gives me actually 4 rejections, gives me a reason to draw this line in, and it seems like today off by 5 cents. Decided to buy it up already. So what that tells me, it's gonna sound kind of redundant. It's either the selling is done, but based on the candle, I don't think it is. They're the people who are eager to get in, kind of thing. They're front running it. There could be more selling. Of course, most ideal. You always want to see the extreme. If we do get through the 17 mark over the next 2 days, 2 to 3 days, we would be pretty far extended from the day 8. That would be an ideal, an amazingly ideal entry. Okay, RSI wise, nothing significant. One last one I want to run through for a good buddy of mine, FCEL. I haven't looked at this one for a long time. I know he's holding it. Don't know what price he's holding it from. So I'm seeing head and shoulders, that's seeing follow through, and then lack of follow through. So key zone, we are at that near that low end of the key zone again. Did lose. This is not a significant trend line. So let's say, I don't know, maybe that one. Okay, clear one, you could say left shoulder, head, right shoulder kind of thing. If that is the case, that is the most clear one to me. This was the neckline to keep. And we can see bounce from it, bounces from it, and then lost it, back test, immediate back test before. So there's the lack of follow through. The chart is actually looking pretty decent now. So seeing this, we lost the neckline, some follow through from there. Oh, it's not lack of follow through. Okay, 45% follow through from there. Woo. 100% run. Wow. I like what the chart's doing. FCEL. Must hold. This key zone must hold. So easy stop play coming up, guys. This $6. Let me take a look at this. How does this draw out? 688 above back test. 688, even 688. So most ideal entry obviously is the bottom of the key zone, which is at 652, even 688 would be a decent entry with an easy stop, low risk at below 650. So let's say, you know, 650, where am I? 644, 648, 6% to the downside for potentially another 100% to the upside. GP, so we did reject from the 0.5, came back down. If this is the double bottom, potential for volume climax. Doesn't really look like it. Yeah, keep an eye on FCEL. Actually, I'm gonna make myself a note for that. FCEL. Right, so yeah, keep your eyes on FCEL. It is looking pretty darn amazing. Lots of upside. You know, you could say that we could see follow through because there is no actual sign of volume climax. We could see follow through to this lower trend line, this long-term lower trend line. Must hold for bulls. Okay, at about $6. Anyways, and that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. Always try to keep it relatively short, but always ending up, you know, 40 minutes. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to give a thumbs up. Make a comment. Let me know if you have any comments. You have any questions on how? So we're taking a different approach this time around, you know, showing how I draw my charts and stuff. Let me know if you guys have any questions or if you have any charts that you want me to review, so you can sort of follow along on how you could be drawing a chart. Just one of the many ways, of course. And thank you for watching. I will see you on the next video.